mixture of slight fog and some clouds with lows around 67. Tomorrow, a mixture of slight fog and some sun and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 81 and slightly foggy. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN+, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest rock stars to the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. A-Team Power Connectors, Commodore Owners Association Rentals, Edward F. Hickey Jr. Trust, Local Rays Apparel, South Oak Title 30A, and the Milkshake Factory, now open.
We're here to champion your success and connect you with this amazing community.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Panama City Toyota. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios.
Are you ready? Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the dragon.
On the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise. Keep making noise. Yeah.
Welcome in to the CBC Construction Studios. We're live and local, giving Leanne a tutorial on how to put her phone on silent. Oh, is it your watch? Your watch, yeah. It is making plenty of noise this afternoon. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with the coach's daughter, Leanne Schwartzentruber. We've got Alan Watson already in the building with us, and James Fife. Leanne, how you doing today? I like your ponytail.
Thank you. Yes, the high ponytail, got a little...
I don't know the difference in a high,
ruffled
low.
feathers back here, but I didn't mean to do that. It's just the way it is.
My wife, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is there two different kinds of ponytails? All I know is pigtails when your child's little.
Yeah.
Well, I did that with my daughter.
Right.
And ponytail. The fact that it's high or low,
yes,
what are you talking about?
I don't
How
know
is
the
that
difference.
a thing?
It's a thing.
A fashionista, the coach's daughter.
It takes 5 minutes. That's what it is.
It takes 5 minutes. Alan, how you doing today?
Terrible. I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Nothing
All
like
right.
being honest.
There you go. He's taking it out on us this afternoon as well. He's taking all the low-hanging fruit and throwing it to the garbage. James, how are you doing today with that Josh Hamilton jersey on?
Doing great on a wonderful Thursday. Let's get the draft going.
Oh, he's just too
Why is this guy so happy?
He's always happy,
I
man.
feel like Shador Sanders' chances of getting drafted, that's how I feel emotionally. Like, it just keeps getting worse by the minute.
Yeah, fair enough.
And yet this guy's over here, shiny, happy people all REM on us. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
Pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals.
That or the goat cheese, maybe.
Hey, the goat cheese, yeah, there you go. Brought us in some of that, I believe. That was last week, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Farm
That was
fresh
last
eggs,
week,
those
yes.
things are good,
I didn't
man.
get the eggs. I got the goat cheese.
I'll bring you one. Just one, though. Have you seen the price of eggs lately?
Yeah.
How was
like
it?
$1 an egg.
Look how crazy this is.
Yeah, and this is at Green Bay. That's where the
This
NFL.
is amazing, like how big of a deal this draft is.
Yeah.
You know what's always kind of struck me as odd about the draft? I don't know if I'm sure we're going to cover this anyway, but it takes 6, 8, 10 years before we get to go back and look and say who had the most successful draft.
Right.
It's not just who has the number one pick.
No.
We know that. Tom Brady proved that's not the case. Right? So, because who was the number one pick the year Brady got drafted?
I don't even know.
Exactly. That's my point. So this year's draft, in a few years, we'll be able to look back and say, oh, so-and-so, that was a genius pick at 13. And you're like, really, was it? So
I always feel bad for the guys that are like the stars, that have been hyped up all leading up to that, and then they don't, and they have their whole family there, and they're all dressed in their best, and they don't get picked, and they're just like, it's kind of, I feel bad for them. But this year they said
Jalen
this
Milroe this year.
You think so?
Well, I don't see him being drafted in the first round. I'm surprised that they gave him an invite to an extent because last year it was, or not last year, but the year prior to that, Will Levis. There's only 2 what?
I think they said there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks that chose to accept the invitation to be at Green Bay, which, I can't understand.
I don't know if Shedur's going to be there. Cam Ward is obviously going to be there.
Cam Ward and Milrose is who I heard.
Those are the only 2 that'll be there. Courtney Brown, 2000, out of Penn State, defensive end, was the first overall pick in 2000. So he was...
And I don't even remember who that is at all.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's interesting because in a lot of things in sports, we see instant gratification. Tiger Woods comes out of the chute with all of this hype, and it worked, and we see it in other sports a lot of times. But in football, obviously, with the pros, sometimes it takes a little time to develop these guys. Sometimes they have to sit behind somebody for a year for various reasons. It's just, look at Trevor Lawrence when he came out of Clemson, and obviously his team was just pitiful for a couple of seasons, but he was still a great player.
Yeah.
It just didn't,
He didn't have the pieces around him.
Look at the Tim Tebow disaster of he was.
It wasn't necessarily a disaster. I mean, first.
But nobody knew what to do with him. Nobody was like, we're going to turn him into a linebacker. We're going to turn him into a whatever.
They should have had faith and let him play quarterback. But
nobody did. That's what I'm saying.
Nobody had faith.
So all of this, this lead up and this hype, and it's like, yeah, we got the number one pick, or we got the number whatever, and then it's like we really won't know for a while. So it's kind of interesting.
First time in my lifetime as a fan that I'm experiencing my team having the number 1 overall pick, and I'm not excited.
Really? Why not?
Well, I was hoping that we would trade out of it because I think Cam Ward is a talented quarterback, and I'm going to be, full fandom for him. I don't want to see Cam Ward fail. We just have a tendency to fail quarterbacks, and that's why. That's why it's just.
It's not that they fail you.
Is there even a 1% chance that they don't take Cam Ward?
I would say there's. It's like 0.5%.
Okay, wow. So it's pretty much a lock.
Betting odds.
Yeah. And nobody else wants him bad enough to trade up for him.
Well, I think. No, I can't say that side of it. I can't say that. I think that the Titans are just comfortable. They met with him, and they're comfortable with this is the direction we're going. They've got Brian Callahan, second-year head coach. He was an offensive coordinator. Didn't like what Will Levis brought to the table. Our other quarterback is Brandon Allen. We have nothing there. They signed Tyler Lockett. All signs pointing towards Cam Ward being the guy that they take.
All right, well, here's the deal I'm going to make with you. If they take Cam Ward, as soon as you think he's going to be a starter right out of the gate? Or
I do.
Okay, all right. Well, then we're getting tickets. I'm taking you to Nashville. We're going to go see him play.
All right, well, there you go. So
you got my word.
That's a pretty easy.
But they got to take him first, because otherwise I'm not buying the tickets.
No, absolutely. I would never expect you to do that, and you don't have to do that, but I will definitely take a trip to Nashville.
Let's do it. I want to see you wear this ridiculous getup.
Well, this right here is Derrick Henry. He's not even a player.
They don't play with him anymore.
I don't have any. I have Ronald Acuna Jr. left. Like, out of 17 jerseys that I have across all sports, none of them play on their teams
That's
anymore.
the way it goes, though.
Yeah, it is
that's really kind of the big difference. I'm going to sound old when I say this, but when I was growing up, being a Braves fan, growing up in the Deep South, you could name all the starters, and you could trust that most, 6 or 7 out of the 9 were going to be there year in, year out. And then now, it's like this stuff is fruit basket turnover. And so you buy a really expensive jersey.
Well,
a lot of times they're expensive.
I
sometimes.
get it from China, so.
Right, okay. Well,
which, I mean, with the tariffs, I guess it could be a lot more expensive now.
Yeah. And then it just doesn't always.
These things are pro level right here.
Last time I was in Nashville, when I was in Nashville at the Preds game, right before, I'm talking like 2 weeks before the whole world shut down in 2020.
Yeah.
I went in and looked in because they had a player at the time with the last name Watson.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'm going to get his jersey just for the, because my last name. And I want to say it was $250 to $300, something like that. I was like, they can keep the jersey.
Yeah, it's crazy.
$250 for the blank, for the blank jersey. It'll just have the logo on the front, and then you have to pay for
the name.
All of that stuff. It's like, my goodness.
You guys got to do what I do. Wait till the guy leaves, and then the jerseys go on sale.
Of course.
I mean, why do you think I got a Ryan Tannehill jersey?
You waited till after he was
Because he
gone?
left, and I got the jersey for like $20 on eBay. It was great.
Man, even last year, I didn't wear this jersey. I wore it to the draft, but I didn't wear it, anymore after that. I didn't wear any NFL jerseys during the season. I think I might have worn it to some fantasy drafts, though, but it kind of stinks, especially with this guy, because this was my favorite Titan of all time. One of my favorite Titans
he was a
of
dude.
all time.
I mean, he's a stud.
No doubt. And it helps whenever, he was playing for the Tide as well. We got Sam on with us. All right, on the Jed Lawyers phone line, we've got Sam Peebles. We're going to be talking Atlanta Braves. Sam is the host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast, and since it's Thursday, that means that he's dropped his latest episode. What is the latest episode about, Sam?
The latest episode is we had some listeners submit some questions, and I answered them, so those are always fun. I really enjoy listener interaction.
Dang it. Some Ask Me Anything with Sam Peebles. What was your favorite question that you were asked?
Man, probably just the deep dives of, talking about the state of the Braves is always fun because it's always speculative, but you get to dig into the numbers and try to predict the future.
Hey, there you go. So while we're predicting the future here, what do you predict to be the first overall pick tonight in the NFL draft?
I think it's pretty much down to Cam Ward, right?
There you go. I'm going to Nashville, baby. I'm going to Nashville with Alan Watson. Sam, how have you felt about Alex Verdugo since being plugged into the lineup?
It seems like he's kind of bringing the same energy that Jock Peterson did when Jock Peterson was traded for. Now, to be fair, Jock Peterson this year is the worst qualified hitter in all of Major League Baseball this season, but this year Alex Verdugo seems to bring that energy that Jock Peterson brought. It's really fun to see. And, he was never going to be like the savior of the team. He doesn't have that type of ceiling. But Alex Verdugo is a very underrated player, and I'm absolutely shocked that the Braves got him on such a cheap deal. This is one of those things where you hate it for the player because he's being severely underpaid, but you love it for your team because that means your team has him. So.
Hey, there you go. And I love the fact that he's wearing number 8, man. I was a huge Javi Lopez fan, and to see that number being donned on the Atlanta Braves jersey once again feels great. Do you feel more confident, Sam, about the Braves turning things around after back-to-back series wins?
Absolutely. First time of the year, or first time of the season, and it's pretty crazy saying that. But, yeah, I'm feeling more confident. They got to go in there and do their thing on the West Coast again. Well, I guess not the coast, but out west from us, and they didn't do so hot last time they were out west, so that makes me nervous. But if they can, do well against the Diamondbacks, then they're facing one of the worst run teams in the history of major sports in the Colorado Rockies right after that. So they should pick up some wins there and maybe keep the momentum going.
Yeah, while we're on that, what do you want to see? What are some specific things that you want to see from the Bravos in their series with the Diamondbacks starting tomorrow night?
I want Chris Sale to be Chris Sale again. That's what I want. I want to see Chris, and he's facing Zach Gallen, who also is not pitching like his normal self. So you have two guys in Chris Sale and Zach Gallen facing each other, which both Gallen has a 5.6 ERA, Chris Sale has a 6.17. I mean, if you would have told me that was the case, I would have thought that like something went terribly wrong, and something terribly wrong did happen. But and I do want to see Spencer Schwellenbach kind of settle down. He pitches the third game. To start the season, he was looking like an absolute ace, but the past two outings he's been kind of shaky in comparison to his first few starts. So hopefully he can get things going in Arizona, get that 6-pitch mix going, and really get back into his groove.
Yesterday afternoon, the Braves were taking on the Cardinals. They were down 1-0, tied up in the latter half of the game around the 7th inning, 1-1. Then Eli White in the bottom of the 8th hits a 3-run shot. How cool was that 8th inning home run for Eli, being a Braves fan and kind of fulfilling a childhood dream?
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine what those feelings were like. And it was kind of fun. You could see the joy on his face as he was running the base pass. I mean, not only was that happening, but it was in such a clutch moment. It was his first home run of the year in the Braves uniform, and on a righty-on-righty matchup that even got questioned by the broadcasters. Like, why are they leaving him in the game in the situation in a righty-on-righty matchup? They should have brought in a left-handed bat in this situation, and he goes in there and hits it to the second deck. It was awesome.
What do you make of by the way, you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Sam Peebles on the line with us. He's the host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. Also pins up a few articles for batterypower.com. What do you make of the situation, the saga with Kelenic hitting the top of the wall, trying to leg out a double after trotting like it was going to be a home run, getting thrown out at second, and then Acuna kind of replying to Mark Bowman on Twitter saying if that was him, he'd be benched. And then the whole kind of fallout from there. What do you make of that situation? Is it a big deal, or are we just making it a big deal as outsiders of the clubhouse?
I will say, as a politician, that I empathize with him, because there's no way that everyone from the outside knows all the inner workings, and they just make assumptions and they run with it. Was it a bad look? Absolutely it was. So that's kind of on him. But, we don't know the inner workings, and there could have been stuff inside the dugout and clubhouse that we don't know. We don't know the full story. So something could have happened. But, it was a bad look. Come on, dude. You should have known that if you did that to Ronald Acuna, even if Jared Kelenic came in there and apologized and Ronald Acuna did not, it's going to look bad if you don't sit him, especially if he's not your star player. Like, what's your excuse? Yeah, that was great of Jared Kelenic to come in and apologize. Okay, well, he barely has a roster spot anyways, so just sit him for one game and then bring him back later. That's what I would have done. But it's in my opinion that maybe Brian Snitker is, as he's getting further along in his career, maybe he's just not as socially aware as he used to be. I don't know. It just wasn't a good look is my main take from it.
I was about to put you in a little political fire there and ask you how you felt. I know that you're in Lynn Haven, but how you feel about the whole Beach Drive situation. That one's very close to home for me, but we'll stay away from that here live on the air. Would you like to see more small ball from the Braves? I was listening to Chipper Jones, and this was actually from last year, kind of at the end of the season, saying that, while he was working with the Braves and he started kind of meeting these players, and Alex Anthopoulos is, he wants guys that get on base and he wants slug. And they certainly have a lot of slug, but would you like to see more small ball from our Braves?
It's a hard thing when someone like Chipper Jones says stuff like that, because obviously you trust his opinion. He's clearly a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. But at the same time, he was not facing every single pitcher throwing 100 miles per hour.
Right.
So I obviously respect with what he has to say, and I'm not going to disagree with him. But at the same time, you also have a full team of people that could get paid lots of money to run the numbers and see what you should do in certain situations. And as good as a hitter as Chipper Jones is, I guarantee you he's not spending as much time doing that math as those people that are getting paid are doing it. So it's one of those things where it's like he's obviously earned his right to have his opinion, and obviously people respect his opinion as they should. But I wouldn't take it as gospel, because there's no way, if I'm a Hall of Fame Chipper Jones, I'm going to be sitting behind a computer running numbers all day to see what is the best thing to do in every situation. Why would you? It's his time to retire and spend time with his family, So I respect his opinion, and I won't say I disagree with it, but these people are paid a lot of money to make those decisions as far as when to do the small ball and when not. But we have seen an uptick in small ball, and I do think that ultimately it comes down to you can't have every single hitter going up there trying to be the home run hitter. You have to have people on base for those home runs to matter. So I would say that you don't need more small ball across the board, but you probably do need more small ball from certain players, like Jared Kelnick, guys like that, guys that are not a power threat. You need to be focusing more on getting on base so the guys that are power threats can knock you in.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you at all right there. We need to get Larry on the line with us so we could have that conversation. We'll get you in the building with us and have a nice debate with him. I'm not going to say anything. I'll let you guys go back and forth on that. I'll be like, yes, Chipper. Yes, Chipper. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. If he was having a conversation face-to-face with me, I'm like, yes. You're correct.
Oh, man, what Brave right now do we need to see more from? Give me one on the offensive side of the ball, and then give me one. Give me a starter, a hitter, and a reliever.
Oh, wow. So a hitter, Ozzie Albies, man, he needs to stop swinging at everything. Yeah. He's swing happy right now. And he's a very valuable player, especially for how much he's getting paid. But he's dropped down, he's having one of his best defensive years in probably 5 years. So he's bringing a ton of value to the Braves. But, man, offensively, stop swinging so much, dude. Like, take a few pitches. Because his role right now is he needs to get on base. That's one of those guys that probably needs to focus more on small ball right now because, yes, he's on pace for 30 home runs. But that's easy to say when you have 4 or 5 home runs that you're on pace for 30 home runs. It's a long season. And he needs to stop swinging so much. As a reliever, I was hoping to see more from Aaron Bummer. I just thought that he's got the stuff. He's, yep. Bummer and Blewett are now on the thing.
Yeah, that was so funny. And Bummer came in to replace Blewett the other day, and it was a real bummer because he ended up blowing it. So.
Yeah. And another guy that I would say I want to see more from Aaron Bummer, but I also want to see more from maybe Brian Snicker. If Montero came in and gave up 2 runs, 2 unearned runs, and 2 walks on 2 hits in 0.1 innings, maybe don't pitch him in a high leverage situation next game. Braves got super lucky yesterday. So I don't know. I guess when you run a bullpen game and you don't really know who to trust at the moment, you just throw someone out there and hope that they do well. But man, that was a crazy call yesterday.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. Chatting with Sam Peebles. He's the host and creator of the Braves Dugout Podcast. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. My final question for you, Sam: how worried should we be about Spencer Strider being back on the IL? I know it's just a grade 1 hamstring strain, but how worried should we be that he's back on the IL just after 1 start?
I just want to know someone that lauds himself in his workout routine of having massive quads like that. How did you injure your hamstring?
Yeah.
I feel like that's impossible, right? As much as he works out, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, we should definitely – I am worried. I'm not going to lie. That a lot of the turnaround was the rotation is struggling a lot more than I thought would happen. And so Spencer Strider coming back, even if Spencer came back and was at 75%, would be a huge upgrade to what the Braves are having right now. So, yeah, even if it's a 2 or 3 week stretch, best case scenario, that still is 2 or 3 weeks that we really need Spencer Strider to be in there. And the Braves need anything they can get right now to turn the needle their way and get some momentum.
As a Bucks fan, you are a Bucks fan, right?
Correct.
Yeah, as a Bucks fan, who do you want them to take tonight?
I will say best available cornerback is what I want to see.
That'll work for me. Sam, thanks so much for your time, my friend.
Cornerback, not quarterback.
Yeah, cornerback. Yeah, y'all got Baker Mayfield over there. He's doing just fine.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, Sam, thanks so much, and take care, bud.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
As always, that's Sam Peebles. He's the host and creator of the Braves Dugout Podcast. You can go listen to that wherever it is that you find your podcast. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, we're going to be talking with the owner of Golf Plus, Alan Watson. It's going to be all about the Zurich. I'm just kidding. We've got a lot of great questions for him.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 79 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour coming out of the south. Tonight, a mixture of slight fog and some clouds with lows around 67. Tomorrow, a mixture of slight fog and some sun and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 81 and slightly foggy. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. The road is yours. Let spring adventures begin in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by today and check out the 2025 SUV family. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. And now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at Bill Bird Kia, PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust at Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. $17.48 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/25.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. For everything in the world of golf, it's the Watson Report. Thursdays at 4:20 with Alan Watson from Golf Plus. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yep, still haven't tried mayonnaise in my coffee, as that was going to be the deal. Well, that's what Will Levis did. And so I told Brian and Jay on the Inside Drive last year, had he won the first game against the Chicago Bears as the starter, that I was going to try mayonnaise in the coffee. And I didn't have to worry about that because we didn't win a game for till, week 6 or so? It was a bad year. And we should have won. We should have won that game. We should have won the next game. Questionable. I believe that was the Packers. Then we played the Jets. Should have beat them. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're here to talk about right now. Right now, we're talking with Alan Watson, live from the CBC Construction Studios. Alan Watson's the owner of Golf Plus, and just, if you haven't been there yet, a phenomenal shop, and they've got everything that you need, accessory-wise, golf club-wise. It's pretty much all there, and if it's not there, they can get it for you. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm better than I let on in the first segment. I just had a disastrous round of golf earlier today, and I was feeling mentally unstable and emotionally threatened, and I wanted to dump my clubs in a creek, and it was bad. So anyway, but I'm fine. I always love being here on Thursdays, and you guys are always fun to hang out with, and so I'm excited. I'm not the biggest NFL guy in the world. I think it's interesting because they're playing at such a high level. So the draft is somewhat interesting to me. But like we said earlier, for me, it's so much talk. And then it's not like you get instant gratification.
No.
I mean, like you said, 6 games into the season, you're waiting for this guy that they bet the money on. Yeah. You're waiting for that horse to run, and he wasn't running. And the only thing it saved you is from having to have mayonnaise in your coffee, which sounds disgusting anyway. Let's face it. That's horrible. That's not even, that doesn't sound edible to me.
Well, it's I don't know if that's necessarily edible as much as drinkable, potable.
Yeah,
potable. Is that the right way to say it?
Tolerable?
It's just mayonnaise belongs on a BLT, not in a coffee.
No,
or grilled cheese. I tried that for the first time.
Actually, I have had that before.
Pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I will, sometimes in the really broke times of my life when the paycheck just hasn't cleared quite yet, just mayonnaise on the bread. You know what I mean? Get away with whatever you got to get away with.
Yep.
All right, Alan, JT, Justin Thomas back in the win column. Roll Tide roll. What does that mean for him, and more importantly, maybe for the tour right now?
Yeah, so it's interesting. He finally gets it done. It's been 3 years, and we're not talking about just a regular tour player. We're talking about a major winner who has had unfortunately, to live in the shadow of his friend Jordan Spieth, but he is still the guy that we talk about those two guys on this show for years now about how both of them have kind of, been in a slump. And so he broke out. Good for him. He had a course record on the first day. He owns like 9 course records on tour. So he is a prolific putter when he wants to be and a great ball striker when he can be. He just has a hard time putting 4 rounds together. He had to go to a playoff to win this one. And it's a good tournament for him. It's a good win for the tour. And like you said, it is significant because it does get one of our stars back on top. We just had Rory win the Masters. Usually it's a star that wins the Masters anyway, but we have had years where no-name guys, or not necessarily no-name, but guys that somebody outside of the world of golf wouldn't know have won. And so to have Rory win and then to back it up with JT is really good for golf, and it puts the stars aligning, so to speak. And yeah, just nice to see. Now, what will he do the rest of the year? Probably shoot a couple of more 62s and then blow it on Sunday. But hey, whatever. Whatever.
Reminds me of a John Daly story where he's sitting in the bar, or I guess in the clubhouse, and Tiger Woods comes in and he's like, "Hey Tiger, come down and have some drinks with us or whatever." He's like, "No, I'm going to go out to the range, hit some balls and stuff." And then comes back in a few hours later, and John Daly's like, "Hey, you ready to drink with us some?" And Tiger's like, "No, I'm going to go hit the gym or whatever." And long story short, John Daly's like 2 bottles. He says like a few bottles of ground deep. Like, golly, bro, I don't know how you're alive, but hey, once you practice to be a professional, you can do what you got to do. Goes out there hungover as all get out the next day and shoots a 62, but I think Tiger ended up still winning that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, John Daly was one of those guys that had all the natural talent in the world, and had he applied himself, would have won even more. Obviously, a little bit Charles Barkley-esque in that he liked to gamble as much as he liked to play sports.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, I think those guys, if you've got the money to lose, I guess there's nothing wrong with gambling. Unfortunately for those guys, like a Charles Barkley or like a John Daly, you kind of wonder if it didn't distract them a little bit, especially later in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing for another day. But John Daly, amazing golfer, should have won more, and had he applied himself, probably could have beaten Tiger in his heyday a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wesley Bryan's facing suspension for participating in a Live Golf affiliated event. How should the PGA Tour navigate player involvement in golf events that are not the tour, especially those that are blending content creation and competition?
Yeah, that's really interesting because the Bryan brothers came onto the scene through a show. Channel, if I remember correctly, and then they decided, hey, well, let's become content creators. They were kind of on the front end of golf content creation. They were doing YouTube like 10, 12 years ago. Like, they were doing this. So for them, I think it was natural to think that it might be okay to be involved in this event. Unfortunately, the PGA Tour didn't see it that way. Now, he's appealing this suspension, but if this holds up, he will be banned from the tour for life, just like all these other Live players are, at least for now.
Yeah, right.
And so, what's interesting is there's not a lot of clarity in the rules because the rules didn't have content creation and the Live Tour at the time that they were made. There wasn't that. It was just like, I don't know exactly which rule it is, but I think the gist of it is like, you just can't compete outside of our realm and whatever. And so there's things that are sanctioned and things that are not. And so this clearly wasn't sanctioned. He didn't bother to check. Nobody bothered to check him on it. And this is kind of what happens. And it'll be, if this holds up, this will be big for some of these other players who have started to get into content creation, because you've got the good guys that have gone along and basically bought stock in some of these tour players and are going to use them in some of their content. Now, if you're just filming a YouTube video, that's one thing.
Right.
If you're playing in an event and you're being paid to play there and somehow that violates PGA Tour rules, that's sort of the thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is an interesting story, and I hate it for Wesley, but maybe he should have checked with his lawyer first. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hate to say that, but just because we do have, if you had known and he knew that there were Live players there, period, other than the 4 majors where they're invited,
right?
I think a red flag would have gone off, but maybe not. Maybe he just thought this isn't really a sanctioned event. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe he thought it was just like going out and hanging with his boys on the weekend. Unfortunately, like I said, the PGA Tour did not see it that way.
Yeah, like he's showing up as not necessarily wearing his PGA Tour hat, but wearing his content creator hat. But once you're on the tour and you have that tour card, then the PGA Tour kind of gets to run that side of things.
And the PGA Tour has control over your name, image, and likeness when you play on the tour. It's not like other professional sports. The PGA Tour owns what they produce. So if you are part of that and you are out playing on a weekend event, you can't just take the footage and use it for your own benefit. They are the ones that have to profit from that, because then you're paid off that. There's a whole nother side of that. But
see, college football, that's
I know.
college
that's
football.
What I'm saying.
That's
right.
It's gonna, and that was one of the things that Mickelson was so upset about when he left for LIV, was that the tour was benefiting from the content and the things that he was doing. They're recycling his greatest hits. They're using things and creating YouTube videos that was generating revenue. And he's like, yes, I played for you, but like that's me on that video screen. And they didn't see eye to eye on that. The rules were already in place, so he knew it. But by leaving, then he was able to do whatever. And I mean, Bryson wouldn't be Bryson today if we were still playing by those rules. He had to leave to do what he's doing. So,
it's less likely that Bryson DeChambeau, as long as the LIV Tour or we're at a dispute here, they're in a dispute, it's less likely that Bryson DeChambeau does try to get back into the PGA Tour?
Yes,
well,
totally.
I mean, I guess he doesn't really have an option.
Need to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an option, right? He doesn't get to like ask for forgiveness and walk back in. But at this point, I don't think he wants to, because he has now created this juggernaut of YouTube for himself, and has really become probably the most liked, most famous golfer out there right now, which is crazy. I would, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we wouldn't have seen that, because he was feuding with Brooks Koepka, and everybody was, it was like, I thought it was professional wrestling there for a minute. I was like, what is going on here? And then now, the guy's just, everybody loves what he's doing, and me included, so I'm a big fan.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Alan Watson in the studio with us. He's the owner of Golf Plus. Alan, over there at Golf Plus, can you help people, me, myself included, gap their clubs properly? And can you explain what gapping is?
Yes, so having gaps in between your clubs, or having them gap properly, is basically spacing out the lofts in your set so that you have all of your appropriate distances. So typically we think of that as 10 to 12 yards per club gap. So there's no point in you having a 7-wood and a 4-iron if they go the same distance.
Right.
Or having maybe you don't hit the ball as hard as you used to, and so now your longer irons are all kind of going about the same yardage. So maybe we need to get rid of one, space out some gaps. Maybe you've got wedges that are on top of each other. We don't want that. So we want to have those proper degree gaps. And we actually have a program on our simulator, on our GC Quad, that is a gap program. You can come in. There's a fee for it, of course, but it takes quite a bit of time, and we go through and gap whatever you want to gap. If you want to do just wedges, if you want to do all your irons, it's hard to really do the whole bag in one session just because it takes a long time, but we can do it. And then we can make suggestions and or bend clubs if we need to appropriately, or again, make recommendations. Maybe it's we're going to take this 4 hybrid out and we're going to add another club, or maybe we're just going to bend this or fix that. But it's really important, because getting to two things the gap session will reveal. One, it will reveal if you have clubs that either are not working or duplicates. The other thing it'll do is you'll then have a really good idea of what your carry yardages are for each clubs, and we can give you a report and everything, print that out for you. So that way, when you go to the course next time, I promise you'll save a couple of strokes, because now you'll know for sure all those times you thought you hit your pitching wedge 148 when you're really hitting it 142.
AG.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like for me today, I had a brand new set of irons in the bag. Never hit them before. I only hit a couple of balls in the simulator, and I had a shot that was 130. And so I grabbed pitching wedge, which I was like, I don't know, these are kind of weak lofted, and I hit it pin high, a little bit left, but pin high. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I can make a mental note that club, if I strike it pure, it's 130. But I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to go play 10 rounds of golf and keep notes to figure out how far my clubs go. Plus, you got wind and all that kind of stuff to calculate. So indoors in the simulator, we can get you raw yardages, everything right. And that way, when you go out, at least this is what my stock yardages are supposed to be. And then you can work off of that.
Now, with the simulator, can you tell when you're hitting the balls pure?
I mean, there's a way, yes. We have these little stickers that we can put on the clubs.
Okay.
And the simulator, our particular quad, is the one that a lot of the pros use on the driving range so that they can see, because it shoots from the front to the back, not from behind. So it actually sees the ball impact the club face. So with the stickers, it can then read where. We can show you on screen exactly where you're hitting the ball. If you're hitting it thin, if you're hitting it high in the face, if you're left, right, whatever, toe, heel. And so that really helps us then adjust lie angle and also just teach a little bit. We don't do a lot of teaching, but it helps us to kind of show people like, hey, you're consistently in the heel or you're consistently in the toe, and then we can make adjustments to try to fix all that.
Yeah, so I was out there at Panama Country Club for a Mosley Scramble this last Saturday, playing with Adam Goff and Kyle Wright and David Ham. And one of the things I was noticing I was having trouble with was the 4 and the 5 iron. I was not hitting those good. So can you give us a swing tip possibly to hit those irons pure?
Yeah, the longer irons, people tend to make one of two mistakes. They either move the ball too far forward, so in other words, they move it up like it's their driver, but the shaft's not the same length, so that doesn't work. Or they put it too far back in their stance, try to hit it like a 7-iron, and again, the shaft is too long now, and so that's where consistency becomes a problem, which that leads back to Bryson and those one-length clubs. But anyway, whatever. So with a 4-iron, 5-iron, because those are harder clubs to hit, I've got to get my placement correct. I've got to get my ball placement. It's going to be a little bit left of center, but not all the way to the front foot. And then what I like to do is choke on the club, choke down just a little bit, because when the club's at full length, especially a long club like that, all it would take is a little bit of impact into the ground to cause that club head to twist, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm choking up just a little bit, the chances are I might catch it a hair thin, but I'd almost rather do that than hit the ground and hit it fat. And so the real thing is, if I've got the ball in the proper position, now I can make sure that that club hits down properly, drive through the ball. You're still trying to drive down. That's another thing too. Again, I know this is kind of a long answer, but a lot of times with longer irons and fairy woods and hybrids, things like that, people try to help lift the ball in the air because they're worried about height. They're like, oh, I'm not going to hit this very high. So they try to lift it and they fall back and then they slide over. That doesn't work. You've still got to drive down through it. Every club in the bag except the driver, you've got to have a little bit of a descending blow. So ball position, choke up a little bit, descending blow. That's how you're going to get that 4 and 5 iron to get up in the air. And that's a great question because, again, most people 7 to pitching wedge, they're fine.
Yeah.
Then they get into those long irons and they're just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
If you address the ball, step back from it, address the ball, give it some little half swings and notice where you're brushing the grass, you'll notice that shaft is causing, because of the length, that ball needs to be placed a little bit far forward. And so you'll kind of catch that. But I was playing with my dad today and I watched him. He had several times where he set the ball literally in front of his left foot. Now he's having to reach out for it, and of course he ended up hitting it a little bit thin. It's tough to do that. You got to have the ball within hitting range. I mean, the ball's not moving, so that gives you a huge advantage to set up however you want. The problem is most people don't know and they don't set up correctly.
Yeah, and that's like you just said how important it is. I don't know how important it is, but I hear all the time.
We'll get out there and work on it one of these days.
There you go. And then our final question, my favorite question each and every week when we have you on, what is the product that we're loving over there at Golf Plus?
Yeah, so we just got in the Panama City store, we just got in another shipment of municipal clothing. So this is the Mark Wahlberg line. This is Wyndham Clark wears it on tour. It's very clean. It's very casual. The golf shirts are not flashy. They're just solids, but they're a great lightweight material, perfect for the beach. These are great looking clothes, pants, joggers, shorts, the whole 9, T-shirts, and just great stuff that you can wear casually, to the ESPN studios. You could wear it to play golf. You could wear it to the office. You could wear it wherever. It's just great looking clothing. So if you're into sort of a California fashion style and a very subtle 2025 style, nothing outlandish, nothing crazy, which, I mean, I like clothes close too.
Yeah.
But municipal is like casual, but again, it's still a athletic feel and look to it. You know what I mean? So that's in stock. Just got a ton of it in for men, and it looks great.
There you go. Go see them over there at Golf Plus, right here at the shops at Edgewater, right next door to Firefly. And if you play the game of golf and you haven't been there yet, what are you doing? If you listen to the Inside Drive, Golf Plus is the studio sponsor for the Inside Drive, and you listen consistently and you haven't been yet, Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame
That's
on
right.
you. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. That was Alan Watson. We'll be right back with a little dose of trivia for the afternoon.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, PCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 79 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour coming out of the south. Tonight, a mixture of slight fog and some clouds with lows around 67. Tomorrow, a mixture of slight fog and some sun and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 81 and slightly foggy. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. He likes to lift weights in a parking lot and eat Weight Gainer 3000.
I'm really starting to feel out nasty.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back here in the Doghouse, brought to you by CBC Construction. They're looking for a few good men, and you could go to cbcconstruction.com, fill out an application, or give them a call at 850-747-3815. We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, so like and share that Facebook feed for us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, download the app, and register. Our trivia question for today: who is the oldest player ever drafted in the first round in NFL history? Who is the oldest player, not the oldest player ever drafted, but the oldest player ever drafted in the first round in NFL history? I've started to realize that I have to double check ChatGPT anytime I ask them for a trivia question.
Really?
Oh,
wow, I'm
goodness.
shocked by that.
Seriously?
Well, they've got a lot of accurate stuff, but you have to sometimes there's technicalities involved, and
they don't get it like because they don't have a brain.
I think yesterday they don't have a brain, but I mean there's a lot of things you can ask it.
Oh yeah,
and I enjoy using it.
Yeah,
but. Yesterday we had a question about who was the only player to go number 1 overall who didn't play college football, and the answer was Eric Swan, but he didn't actually go number 1 overall that year. I believe he was drafted in the first round, so there's one of those technicalities. So technically that's never happened, but he played semi-pro football for the Bay State Titans and was drafted.
I remember them.
Yeah, do you?
No.
Well, there you go.
No, I don't.
They're a cricket team.
Yeah, crickets.
Who is the oldest player ever drafted in the first round in NFL history? 12-pack of Buffalo Rock ESPN t-shirt and a $25 gift card to not the, but that boot store. 850-215-6290. Give us a call on the Jed Lawyer phone line. The NFL draft is beginning in 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 25 seconds. Liam, what are you going to be doing for the NFL draft this evening?
I'm not going to get to do a whole lot, but I wish I was getting to do what you guys are doing tonight.
That is not how this game plan was supposed to go. We're going to take a break and then we'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
No, I want to go to St. Andy's.
Oh, okay. I think I know a few people.
Is that how it's called?
Yeah,
I mean, it's called
Andy's?
St. Andy's.
Yep.
Okay.
Like St. Andrews, but St.
Well,
Andy's.
yeah, that's why I think it's cool that they, did that.
Well, anyways, so that should be a good time. So that'll be starting at 6:30 this
Are they
evening.
doing like...
Let's just leave it at that, just so I don't get in
okay.
trouble.
I'm just curious as what all they're...
That's why I was trying to leave it all on you, so it's like, all right,
Sorry.
But, hey, whatever. We're going to get into the coach's daughter corner here in hour number 2. James, tonight we have the Lightning and the Panthers, game 2. In fact, we're not too far away from that. It's
a little less than an hour.
Yeah, they're going to be starting at 5:30. What do you expect here from game 2 tonight for the Bolts and the Cats?
I need to see the Bolts step out. They got punched in the mouth in the last game. No doubt about that one. Every single stat that you look at from the last game that the Lightning played in did not look good. They got to come out. They got to stand strong. They need to come out quick. They need a goal within the first 5 minutes of the game to set the tempo. Because if they don't, they're just going to fall behind. And I think they're in a position right now that they can't be behind. Because, I mean, if you look at it in the playoffs in the Stanley Cup, anytime you go down 2-0, yeah, pretty much a death sentence on that. Because it's, 70% of the time the team that's 2-0 continues on into the playoffs, and the team that is 0-2 has a nice long summer break.
850-215-6290. Who's the oldest player ever drafted in the first round in NFL history? I'm going back here and making sure that this is the correct answer.
Making you a little paranoid?
Just a little bit, you know. But because there's been some old players drafted, but I don't remember when exactly this one particular one is. That I'm looking for here. I'm trying to find out when he was drafted. So pick up talking about who's your team? Saints, right? Or is it the Cowboys? You're like,
no, I grew up a Saints fan. I've always liked the Cowboys, but since Dak has been there, I've been more of a fan, but he's probably not going to be there much longer. So, yeah, the Saints.
Who do you want to see them draft tonight? Like, if it was out of my calling question of the day was going to be who gets drafted higher, Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart? So who would you rather?
Well, obviously, I don't like Jackson Dart because he played for Ole Miss. However, I'm a smart enough sports fan to know that he's probably going to make a good quarterback in the NFL. But I would like to see, and I don't know which order as far as the Saints have over.
Saints are 9th. I believe, yeah.
I wish that they could get Sanders, to be honest.
Yeah.
We need a good quarterback, and I really think he would fit in well there. But, you know, it just depends on how the ball bounces.
What is Kalen DeBoer doing at the NFL draft? I mean, I
he's supporting his players.
Supporting your players. That's a smart thing. It's really cool how the draft is in Green Bay. Amanda. That's where she's from, is Wisconsin. Yeah. So they're actually at the draft.
Oh my gosh, how exciting! And her son, did he get to go?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh,
I bet he is having a blast.
He goes to get back and see Grandpa and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
so yeah, he's definitely going to have a blast. Terry, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Not a whole lot. Just getting ready for this draft tonight and watching the Tennessee Titans approach to take their future quarterback. We'll see how it all plays out. Who's the oldest player ever drafted in the first round in NFL history?
Brandon Weeden.
Brandon Weeden out of Oklahoma State at like 28 years of age. Yep. Some people were texting in asking if it was Chris Winkie. Chris Winkie was drafted in the 4th round. And then there was also another guy whose name I can't really pronounce. He was actually the oldest player ever drafted at that point.
Something or other, yeah.
What's that?
It was Oleg something.
Yeah, something like that, like Ove or Oleg or whatever. Isn't that something from
Oleg?
Oleg. I've said that a few times, especially running the base paths there. But yeah, Terry, who do you want the Vikings to take tonight?
Either cornerback or safety. They need somebody. The defense is going to be outstanding, so one other guy is going to be great.
Would you like the Vikings? The Vikings are one of 3 teams I heard that that could possibly be dealing with the Falcons to bring Kirk Cousins there. Would you like Kirk Cousins to come back and be the backup for J.J. McCarthy?
Yes. Oh, any day. Any day.
See, so Vikings fans have a soft spot for Kirk Cousins still, right?
Oh, he was still good. They went down there and he didn't get a chance. I don't think they didn't let him do what he should do, and I think it was much easier for him to be back in Minnesota. So I would welcome him back, no problem.
All right, well, maybe we see the Vikings and the Falcons work on a little trade draft magic this evening.
Yeah,
go ahead.
My big thing is going to be the Wild NHL playing Vegas Knights. They got their 2 stars back, and they won Game 2, and I can't wait for Game 3.
Yeah, heck of a series to this point, too, and they look strong. James, what do you think about the Wild and the
Game 2.
Golden Knights?
Wild, I was not expecting the Wild to come out with 3 goals in the first period in the second game.
That was
they
crazy.
Absolutely dominated with that one. Now, Vegas is a great team, but the Wild are just hanging in there, and the thing is in the playoffs, that's all you got to do is just make it to Game 7 and then just force your hand.
Well, Gustafsson made 4 or 5 great saves in the first 5 minutes, and then we turned around and scored 3 goals, and it was over at that point.
Aiden Hill was just shocked for the.
He was.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's going to be starting tonight, so we'll see what happens.
It's going to be great. I just left Minnesota on Monday. I wish I was going to stay in there and go to the game tonight, but it's going to be crazy. The last game I saw live was last year when I went to Vegas and watched the Wild play in Vegas. It was great.
Was it a playoff game?
No, it was like in December, but it was that atmosphere in the Vegas is crazy.
Yeah, I imagine Coach Brian Haddad's going to be over that way shortly, and he's hoping that they're still playing so he can get over there to a playoff game. I'm like, man, a regular game in Vegas would be insane, but to go to a playoff game would be absolutely nuts. Well, Terry, thanks so much for calling, and we're going to be down there. You know where we're going to be, right? You've heard where we're going to be. All right, you say it. Where are we going to be?
I don't know where you're going to be.
Oh, never mind.
St. Andy's Sports Bar and Pub. For the draft.
I haven't been paying attention. I've been gone all week.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries. Terry, do me a favor. Hang on the line, and James is going to grab your info, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's Terry Lamb, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, Leanne, who's your hockey team? Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah. But I also like Vegas.
Yeah.
Just when they went there, I just thought it was cool. So I followed, and they had such a great, that first season especially, and coming right out of the gates. But Tampa Bay, I have to be. That's our Florida hockey team. Come on.
There you go. I mean, the cup runs through the state of Florida. James Kelly says, "What up, everyone? Cam Ward might be the first Titan jersey that he purchases." He says, pro Canes. Obviously, he's a big Miami Hurricanes fan. And, Cam Ward did lead the FBS in touchdowns thrown last year with 39 touchdowns. There was a graphic up earlier on ESPN here where it was Joe Burrow who had 60 touchdowns. You had David Carr threw for 42 touchdowns. I forget who the third one was. Vinny Testaverde. I don't remember how many touchdowns, maybe 27, and then John Elway with 24. I was looking at those numbers. I was like, man, the way that the passing attack has changed in college football is absolutely crazy. Johnny Yankee Seed chiming in says he wants Abdul Carter for his New York Giants. I think that's the right move for them. Unless Travis Hunter's still on the board, then you could go in that direction. I mean, just the excitement, and I don't want the Titans to take Travis Hunter because I don't think that I don't want to be a part of the experiment necessarily, but I think it is an experiment
to a certain degree. Yeah.
But I think that he's got a lot of talent and he brings a lot of excitement, and he'll sell tickets just off of that. In New York, what better place? If it's Tennessee, New York, or Cleveland, what's the best place for Travis Hunter to go to with that kind of a skill set? I would say with the Giants, just for what that organization can bring to the table. Not what the organization can bring to the table, what the media surrounding that organization can bring to the table. Let's see here. Let's dive into, well, I didn't have really anything planned for this particular segment. We are going to be diving into some Coach's Daughter Corner topics here, which you primarily baseball. What's been the hardest thing about your Orioles just not living up to the hype again? Well, I can't say again. It's just the hype was so high 2 years ago. Then last year they kind of let y'all down again in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right. And then this year it's not been looking so great. What's been the hardest part of it? Watching it?
Yeah, losing. That's what the hardest part of it is. I don't know. We can't hit, or we just. It's just like my Mississippi State Bulldogs. It all happens at the end. We just give up and we just flake out and we lose. And I'm tired of losing.
Hey, well, I understand your pain. Y'all are 9-14 and the Braves are 10-14. So we're right there in the same boat, just a little half game up on you. But it doesn't matter. Y'all in the AL East and we are in the NL East, and still a very long way to go. And the biggest problem with the Orioles is the fact that they didn't try to go out and shore up that pitching staff. And what wins in the playoffs, as Adam Goff brought up yesterday, is pitching.
I know. However, Batista is back, and he is our relief pitcher.
Yeah.
And last year when we were doing so good, we were on track to do better than that year before.
Right.
And then he got hurt, and I'm telling you, it all went to you-know-what in a handbasket after that.
Ooh, eggs in a handbasket. Y'all bring them in. If you got farm fresh eggs, just like James does, bring them over here to ESPN Northwest Florida, and we'll cook them up. Not live here unless, well, you can cook an egg in a microwave. I've just never done it before.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen, they got YouTube tutorials for everything. You guys, James is like, no, don't ever do that. You're right. You're right with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hour number 2 coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Tua has, from my knowledge, has not done well against winning teams, so that is a knock on him. But also, when they seem to get in colder games, the whole team seems to shut down. That may be a leadership issue, head coach freezing on the sideline. I think they need to get tougher.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 79 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour coming out of the south. Tonight, a mixture of slight fog and some clouds with lows around 67. Tomorrow, a mixture of slight fog and some sun and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 81 and slightly foggy. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And then out of the ballpark.
ESPN North Florida.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Yeah. Welcome back to our number 2. I've got a way for you to win a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt, and you don't even have to call in. You can go get the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store. Type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Open up the app and smash the Enter Contest button. You could win a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt, an Inside Drive t-shirt, or Golf Plus t-shirt. Also, if you're a basketball fan, go to the ESPN Northwest Florida Facebook page, because all you got to do is comment on there. And we're going to be, I'm not entirely sure how this promotion is working out, but you go there, comment, and you could possibly win 2 tickets to Game 4 Sunday evening of the Magic and the Boston Celtics. So that's pretty impressive stuff. Maybe not as impressive as the Titans, drafting Cam Ward and then Allen Watson saying, all right, well, I'll take you to Nashville.
Yeah.
All right. Better be all expenses paid, bro. You were making fun of my salary earlier. Oh, man. Allen Watson is a great guy.
I know. He really is.
Owner of Golf Plus. Again, like I was saying earlier, if you play golf, even if you don't play a whole lot, don't go to the big box stores and check out their stuff. Golf Plus is right online with their prices. If not, they're beating them. Plus, they have used clubs in there that you could buy. They've got sets from all different price ranges that you could dive into the game of golf with. And if you're already a seasoned golfer, then they could take care of you. If you're a golfer who's struggling with your scores, then you need to go to Golf Plus and get fit. Tomorrow afternoon, want to remind you guys, we're going to have Coach Dave Ford in with us from 4 to 6 p.m., which is very exciting, but also exciting. Sunday, April 27th, he is going to be at the Bookish Boutique Bookstore from 1 to 3 p.m. doing a book signing. So pretty exciting stuff there, and I'm going to try to get over there for a few minutes. He's already signed my books, but still, I love having him on the show with us, because we dive into mental health issues and all of that stuff, and that's a huge topic in my life, especially right now, and it will be for the rest of my life, no doubt about it. And it's an important thing, and I think it gets overlooked a lot of the times, especially in sports, but it's something that you have to monitor, and also to be there for your friends. And sometimes the best way of being there for your friends isn't giving them advice or anything like that. It's just simply sitting there, shutting up, and letting them get stuff off their chest, or maybe just sitting there in silence sometimes. But, if you, as a Christian, that's what we're called to do, is help each other out and love each other. So, all right. This is our number 2 here. We got the Coach's Daughter Corner. We have the Coach's Daughter in the building with us, Leanne Schwartzentruber. And what do we got going on here to start off our number 2?
Okay, well, my parents did something special for you, and they've had it for a couple months, but they were supposed to come a few months ago and didn't get to. So I've had to keep this secret all this time. They were here this past weekend for Easter, and so this is for you, and it's not long. I just want you to read it on the air.
Okay, I got to read this out loud.
Yes, you do.
Knowing Coach Walker,
short.
she's probably got something embarrassing in here.
No.
Dear Dave, I know that you're a Braves fan. Our church had a men's conference, and my husband, Bob Walker, was going. Former Braves pitcher Greg McMichael was one of the speakers. I asked Bob to get a picture of him, but he did better than that. He got a baseball ministry card, and Greg signed it just for you. Leanne will text you a picture of him while speaking to the group about his life and Jesus, our Savior. Love ya, Bob and Georgia Walker. So,
and I just sent you the picture, but here's the card that he signed for you.
How sweet is this?
And that's in one of those fancy Ziploc bags.
This is exactly how you protect cards.
Sorry, that's what I had.
No.
I was scared something would happen to it.
No doubt. This is awesome. Coach Walker, Bob, and Georgia, thank you guys so much. That really means the world to me. Just the thought. They always say the thought that counts, and when you put some thought like that in, that is really cool. And then also where this was done at means a little bit more to me as well. So really excited about this, and man, this is really cool. Greg McMichael.
He was a relief pitcher.
I'll try to try to share it here. The fancy card protector. You can't get these at PCB Hobby, I don't think. Well, maybe they'd give them to you, but they probably say, let's get you some regular penny sleeves.
I know, but I don't have that on hand at my house,
no, don't, Leanne, you know that I'm just giving you a hard time right now. Now, we did get a text in from Ohio Brad, and I'm not entirely sure what this means. Upgrade your gray matter, because one day it may matter. What does gray matter?
Your brain.
Your brain.
Oh. I thought it was pink. I mean, I really have always thought of the brain as being pink. I have never looked inside of my own skull, Leanne, okay?
Well, me either, but I watch movies and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's
Have you not seen inside other people's skulls since you haven't seen inside your own?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, MRI-wise, with, what's going on with our good friend Ryan Mulvey, like, I've seen that stuff, so I guess technically the pictures I do see are, but they're black and white, so I don't know any better. But thoughts and prayers with Ryan as he's going to get an MRI tomorrow. He will not be on the inside drive. Good old James is going to be hosting that. But again, thoughts and prayers with the Mulvey family.
Yes.
Really just, I mean, my goodness, at this rate, the people that I continuously see being diagnosed with cancer, I'm like,
it's so much.
It's sad. I mean, really is what it is. And, thoughts and prayers. We've got other people here on our ESPN Northwest Florida staff that are dealing with things, and so just keep everyone in your prayers. I guess you can never pray too. Not I guess.
No.
I know you can never pray too much. 850-215-6290. Jed Lawyer's phone line for the rest of the show. We've got Derek Tate coming up next. Leanne's going to leave us early, so me and James will just probably talk hockey, NFL draft, and whatever else we could think about. But my call-in question of the day, since this one could wait till tomorrow, I don't know that for sure. Who goes first? Shadur Sanders or Jackson Dart? Text or call the Jed Lawyer's phone line, 850-215-6290. Let me know who goes first, Shadur Sanders or Jackson Dart.
Do we know the top 10, the order of the first 10 picks, like who are the teams? I know they can trade and do things like that.
Right, but this is that's exactly what I was about to say. This is the first time I believe in NFL history where all 32 picks going into the draft are the same, are original. Like there's no, there hasn't been any trades leading up to this. Now, will things change?
Who knows?
More than likely.
Yeah.
More than likely. But the draft order right now is you got the Titans obviously drafting first. You're going to have the Browns drafting second. You've got the Giants drafting third. And then I will pull up the rest of them here. I'm trying to think. Fourth is going to be the Patriots. Fifth is going to be the Jaguars. Now I've got it pulled up here, so we should be in better shape. Raiders come in at 6, Jets at 7, Panthers at 8, Saints 9, and Bears are at 10. And Wright State Chris is on the line with us. Chris, what's going on, my friend? How you feeling?
Man, I feel normal today. Finally feel normal.
So for those of you who don't know, and the reason why I asked how he's feeling that emphatically is he actually was dealing with some blood clot issues. What was it, 2 days ago?
Yeah, I started on Sunday and finally went to the emergency room on Tuesday, but didn't know till like Tuesday morning for sure that I needed to go to the emergency room.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Leanne. Yeah, it was really scary, but you don't know where it comes from, and then you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So. But now I'm not going to Auburn this weekend anymore, Dave. Leanne, I was going to watch Mississippi State play a baseball game. One of their coaches is a really good friend of mine, and I was going to go up there and watch. But now I'm not gonna make the trip.
Oh, so. Well, I know one thing's for sure is most likely Auburn would have played well compared to Mississippi State if we are on our same trajectory here, which is not a very good one.
No, it's been a tough year. I've been watching some of the games.
It has.
So. But, I'm going to go with Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. And my reasoning is, and I heard this on the Dan Patrick show today, is I have a feeling that a lot of the scouts don't want to get on Deion's bad side. So they might, but the teams don't care. The NFL teams don't care. You know what I'm saying? But the scouts, they don't want to be locked out of Colorado practices. They don't want to be, like blackballed or blacklisted or whatever he's been doing from, like he tried to do with the media sometimes. they don't want to be taken away from Colorado. So I'm going to go with Jackson Dart. I feel like Shedeur is going to play in the NFL, and he could be a great quarterback. But I'm going to go with Jackson Dart. I think he knows how to do NFL a little better, knows how to read it, and I think he's got a little more measurables. I could be completely wrong. I'm not an NFL scout, obviously, but that's my take on it.
I like it, man. That's a great take. We've got Steven saying that Dart will go first to the Saints and someone will trade back into the first round to get Sanders. I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up falling, Shedeur does, to the Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin and that situation could work out very well for them. I don't think that, anyone really in the top, as we were just looking at the top 10, I can't see anyone that's going to take them. Would the Jets go back to a quarterback after they pick up Justin Fields? I don't think so. What's that?
Giants?
No, because Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson.
Well, you can cut those guys pretty easy. It's not going to cost you anything.
I don't. But I don't know, because for me, if I'm drafting Shedeur Sanders, unless he has this great preseason and great offseason and proves that he should be the starting quarterback, I would like to see him sit for a year behind our NFL veteran of some sort and make that happen. Like, and Aaron Rodgers could possibly be that guy if the Steelers end up going after him. Caveman Rick also says Jackson Dart. I've heard a split consensus from friends of mine that are Saints fans, like Jackson State Jeff. He said he wants Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
My buddy Derek Page wants Jackson Dart. So there's a large... Or the amount of people that I've talked to about it seems pretty split from what I'm seeing on Twitter even as well. But we'll just have to wait and find out this evening. Rice Day Chris, we've got a couple of great questions here for Leanne, and she came up with the questions, and I figured that you would like to chime in on these as well. So hang on the line. We've only got about 8 minutes left. You got time?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So our first question from Leanne, or our first topic rather, is what is it about baseball players and their necklaces from Little League to the pros? So explain yourself.
Well, I was going to use this for a blog post because I'm so behind on my blog post, but then this is a live blog, so we're going to talk about it here. No, it hit me the other night. I'd watched college baseball that day. I was watching pro baseball that night. I have nephews that have played baseball, some that are still playing. And even when I was young, they all had, back then it was gold necklaces. Then it kind of went to silver, and now you see even the black, But it's strictly, if you watch other sports, a lot of them don't even wear jewelry.
The NFL, they do.
But do they wear it while they play?
Yes. Akeem
But it's underneath their stuff.
Yeah, but they find ways to yank them chains, and they're not telling jokes.
But seriously, though, for the baseball players, even the little kids do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rice Day Chris.
All right. So, as baseball's progressed and as TV has gotten more clear, you've seen that baseball players like to be a lot more fresh on the field.
Swag, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you look at Pete Rose back in the 60s, not the same as Ronald Acuna Jr. now.
Yeah.
So, and another thing that I learned from the sports psychologist Ken Ravizza back in the day is there's a full-length mirror out in the clubhouse before they go into the dugout. And a lot of the players like to look at themselves to make sure that they look nice and swaggy or fresh or whatever you want to call it. They want to look good being out there. There's not a lot of like David Ecksteins out there that could care less what they look like. It's just all about hustle. So it's about looking good. And baseball's not a contact sport. Like maybe you're sliding into second hard and there's an issue there. Maybe, you can't run over the catcher anymore. But, no one's going to jack the necklace like, who
Michael Crabtree and Aqib Talib.
Yeah, Aqib Talib jacked it twice. Yeah. No one's gonna use that necklace to choke somebody like they could on a football field. So they're not. And you see the stud earrings. You see like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was super blinged out back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's all about, looking good, and it's about the confidence thing. Because I'll tell you one thing, going up there facing 98-mile-per-hour heaters, you got to have confidence.
Yeah.
So and there's a thing that you can use it for any line of any part of life. Fake it until you make it. So the better I look, the more confidence I'm going to have.
Hey, there you go. Look good, play good. That's what they say whenever you get them new, fresh uniforms. For me, I didn't wear jewelry probably till I got to high school baseball, and I only wore. I always liked the simple chains, but. For me first, it was Under Armour, right? When they first started coming out with that was, a piece of the swag. Then you had to have your sweatbands, and I always wore high pants until, like, the Manny Ramirez, and then it was the baggy pants, You had to have the baggy pants, and eye black was a thing. So, yes, baseball players are highly, especially growing up and stuff, you're highly superstitious, and you got to look good. There's a reason why girls are always going after the baseball players.
It's the necklaces.
I don't think it's just the necklaces. It's the full product that we give you. That's
I know it. I can picture in my head. That's what's so funny. Like being in the 7th and 8th grade and having crushes on baseball players, and they all had good-looking necklaces.
There you go. And then what about when they got to that Rice Day, Chris? I'm sure you remember when they had like the braided. It wasn't, it wasn't like a metal necklace. It wasn't silver or gold or anything. It was.
It was like the rope. Rope chains. Yeah.
Those were pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And they're either their number or they're a cross usually, and they always kiss it when they do something good.
Yeah, there you go. I like just pointing up to the sky.
Leanne, you don't got to lie to us. You like the way their butts look in those cans.
I also like the hair too.
Hey, there you
Long
go.
curly hair is awesome.
All right,
back.
And then the second question: are sliding mitts giving runners an unfair advantage on close calls? What do you think, Leanne?
I think they are. Have you seen how far they go past their fingertips?
Depends on where they wear it. Sometimes they're
That's what I'm saying. I'm watching them and I'm like, dude, your mitt got there way before your hand did.
I'm waiting for somebody to come out with like a 3-foot mitt and like force Major League Baseball to actually like take up the issue. I just think it would be hilarious.
They have to run in a weird way so it doesn't hit the ground.
But I mean, am I the only one that's thought about that? I mean, I think about it every time I see them.
Technically, you're right. Like it's made to like grip the base, so you can slide you can slide with more force without worrying about like your hand coming off of it. So, I never experienced using those, so. I personally, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, like with the swimmers that were using those like outfits designed by NASA with no type of like inseam or anything like that. Inseam's not the right word, but they had no, like, it was, it's like, I feel like some of the stuff that they're creating is more advanced than what actually they, can do. But I agree with that, and it's going to be like goalie gear at some point in time. They're going to start measuring the stuff to make sure that it's, it conforms to what they need it to be.
That's so great because they've really gained, in my eyes, I remember seeing them like maybe the last 3 or 4 years. And I think, in the last 2 years, they've trickled down to, or maybe 3 years, trickled down to travel ball and all that.
I know.
It's just
and little kids are wearing them.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's how it goes, though. That's how it goes.
They're also getting rings.
They didn't start wearing necklaces and stuff in Little League. That started because they saw their favorite players wearing the necklaces, and it trickled down. But according to this AI overview here, sliding mitts gained popularity in MLB as a protective tool for base runners in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Players had used similar devices to protect injuries for decades. Scott Podsednik was the first to wear a modern version on the base paths in 2008 after injuring his thumb. I did not know that.
Me either.
Were you seeing them like in the minors and stuff?
I remember kind of like, like your rollerblade wrist pads.
Yeah.
I remember some of those where it just kind of goes around your wrist and in your hand. So that way when guys slid in, they weren't jamming their wrist. I do remember seeing those in the 90s, but I don't remember like the whole oven mitt look.
It literally is an oven mitt. You're right. I mean, it's humongous.
Yeah, because the way that it looks, I'm like, are we wearing this to keep guys from stepping on your hand? And why aren't you wearing them on both of them? I mean, why aren't they wearing them on both? I think Marcelo Ozuna wears them on both.
It's the hand you're reaching with for the bag.
Either way. All right, but sometimes you got to slide on different sides of the bag. You don't always use the same hand.
And it's also, if you look, it's on the throwing
if I was a fielder, I would switch. I would see which hand it's on and try to block that part of the bag, when they're coming in.
That's a good point.
I remember the hubbub that I remember back in the early 2000s was like basically Barry Bonds would walk to the play with like a full set of armor on.
Yeah.
People were complaining.
His
The big old
pad
elbow pad,
and
shin pad.
shin pad, yeah. And so they were complaining that like, well, you know, like why, like you could throw in on him and he wouldn't even care, you know. So I feel like some people just, you know, are going to find things that they don't like because of new technology, you know. So,
yeah, that's a great point. Well, Wright State Chris, we have come to the end of this segment. Thanks so much for calling in. Glad you're feeling better, bud.
Yeah, man. Hey, I might stop by tomorrow if you don't mind. So.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, I got Dave Ford in the building with us. I think Chef Ross is going to join me. Caveman's going to take off tomorrow. He won't be here. So, yeah, and if you have nowhere to watch the draft, do you know where I'm going to be?
I'm sure Lone Star or somewhere else.
It's somewhere else.
They're going to St. Andy's Sports Pub.
Okay.
In St. Andrews.
All right, so if you'd like to come, I might be down there. There's like a 99.9.9.9. All right, Wright State Chris, take care, bud.
All right, man. Y'all have a great one. Appreciate talking to y'all.
All right, coming up next, we've got Derek Tate. It's been a while since he said later, says the Tater. We didn't know it was going to be that long. But Derek Tate will join us coming up next to talk more NFL Draft.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
I follow a lot of soccer and basketball on Instagram, and you have some of these NBA players that are like, whoa, man, the Europeans, they're working on fundamentals at a young age, where we're just going to tournaments and playing these games. They're really learning the game inside out before they start.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, a variety of slight fog and partly cloudy skies and a low of 68 with wind 2 to 5 miles per hour. A mixture of mostly sunshine and slight fog tomorrow morning, a light breeze and very warm near 79. Mostly sunny and 80 in the afternoon and evening. 81 and slight fog in the morning and then mostly sunshine Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get your mom a beautiful color gemstone that she'll cherish and wear for a lifetime from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. And just in time, Tracy's Fine Jewelry is offering our entire collection of color gemstone jewelry, rings, earrings, pendants, and bracelets at 60% off. That's right, 60% off our entire selection. The largest selection and the lowest prices are just some of the reasons why people choose Tracy's Fine Jewelry to find the perfect gift for Mother's Day. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, 2621 East 15th Street in Panama City.
MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse. We are live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. They are looking for a few good men and possibly women. Just go to CBC Constructions, cbcconstruction.com. Also, on the Jed Lawyer phone line, you can text or call us this afternoon, 850-215-6290, as we welcome in our next guest. Been a while, but man, he is phenomenal. Derek Tate, he's an NFL analyst for Heavy.com. Derek, what's going on, friend?
Oh, you know, just before you guys called me to jump on and talk a little NFL draft, you know, little Kennedy and little Maisie asking me for milk. Daddy, 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 please, please, please. So I had to take care of that. Barely got it in under the shot clock, but we're good to go. Let's talk a little NFL draft.
Hey, there you go, Leanne.
Derek, hey, I can't believe that this worked out, that you're on the phone with us when I'm here. I'm just here on Thursdays with Dave. He lets me hang around here.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, it worked out perfectly. Now I'm tickled that you're that I'm on the microphone with you as well.
I know. I'm
One
so
big happy family, right?
That's right.
There you go, man. It's been a while, but so glad to have you back on with us. Now, Ashton Genty's getting a lot of. I saw one comp. I don't know if it was a true comp or someone was just messing, but they were like ceiling, Walter Payton, floor, LaDainian Tomlinson, which is like, all right, so Hall of Fame career. Do you think that the hype is real for Ashton Genty?
It's well warranted. He's special. Contact balance is special. I truly believe he's going to come right in and be a plus-level back in the NFL. You know, I think that his ceiling, similar to that of like Saquon Barkley, is going to be determined by what roster he's on. You saw how great Saquon was last year, so we know that the Saquon was not the problem in New York. It was the New York offense, and it was the New York offensive line. It was the quarterback play. So depending on the situation, I think it's going to determine how impactful and how special Genty's numbers are early on. So, for example, if he goes to the Raiders, I would lower my expectations from a fantasy perspective. If he goes to the Bears, though, Ben Johnson, retooled offensive line, that could be potentially really special right from the get-go.
Do you think it would be maybe not a waste of time, but what do you think the Jaguars do at 5? Let's ask it that way.
Yeah, I do think it's actually going to be Ashton Genty. We saw what Liam Cohen did last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, revamp that rushing game immediately. They went from like 31st in the league on a yards per game basis on the ground all the way to, I think it was 3rd. And obviously Bucky Irving had something to do with that. Graham Barton had something to do with that. But the point of the matter is, you know, Liam Cohen saw firsthand what an effective running game can do for an offense. And what way do you help Trevor Lawrence? Sure, you could get Mason Graham. Sure, you could get Will Johnson. But getting a dynamic running back is a surefire way to be able to help elevate that offense and take some of the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence.
How do you feel about the draft being held at Lambeau Field? When they did this at Detroit last year, was it at Ford Field or did they have it at like on the streets?
I don't think it was at Ford Field. I think it seemed like they kind of have like a convention center / downtown area where you can have some different festivities, right? So in Green Bay, Wisconsin, though, I mean, I've been there one time. I watched Jameis Winston play under center for the Buccaneers. We got beat, surprise, surprise. The Bucs went to Lambeau not too long ago. But, I mean, that is a football town. I mean, everything, the fans are so cordial there, and obviously you're going to have a lot of people traveling into a small town. It's going to be interesting to see where everybody stays in Green Bay, but you know, maybe some folks are going to be taking their RVs. Who knows? But it should be a really fun weekend. I'm sure Green Bay is going to do a great job.
How do you think the Titans' decision to go with Cam Ward, if that's what they end up doing, how do you think that shapes their rebuild? Do you really believe that he is a franchise quarterback? Derek, did you hear that?
I don't, and it's not because I think that he's a bad prospect. It's because I have some questions about, is he going to be able to rein in some of the reckless decisions? Like, I call him light camera action, pun intended a little bit there, because he is fun to watch. He can make a ton of plays off script, and he's going to do some great things, but he's also going to drive you a little bit crazy. And he's walking into that Tennessee situation. Is that the best one to help him succeed? I have my questions. He's certainly a guy that has first-round physical tools. I just have some questions about the consistency with how he plays in structure. There's flashes of anticipation, which I don't think he gets enough credit for, but I just want to see it more consistent for a guy that's been in college as long as he has. So I have some questions. I'm not going to say that I think he's going to be a bust because I don't think that that's the case. I'm just not as, bullish on his start to his NFL career. I think it's going to be, wait and see, and hopefully they get the most out of him.
Well, when you add that into comparison when you add that to the combination of how the Titans do with quarterbacks, it is not looking good. But I'll be rooting for him. I was hoping that we were going to trade down and see what we could get for the first round pick, or for the first overall pick. But if they go with Cam Ward, then I will be directly fine with that. Do you think that the NIL and transfer portal are making it harder to evaluate prospects now compared to 3, 4, 5 years ago?
I do, because these players are moving so often, and they're they're basically moving from different situation to different situation. So it's hard to understand how their offense, like what an offense is asking them to do. How is their role changing? Are they, for a quarterback, for example, what type of scheme are you running? Those questions apply to all positions, would certainly make it a little bit tougher evaluation process for some of the players entering the NFL.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Derek Tate on the line with us. He's an NFL analyst for Heavy.com. Heavy.com is a great website, too, by the way. Y'all go check that out. Why aren't we hearing anything about Quinn Ewers? Now, I'm not surprised necessarily, but when we're talking about the quarterbacks, it's all Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, it's Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe entering the picture here, where Quinn Ewers was possibly the number one quarterback going into last year. Why do you think that is, that we're not hearing much about him?
Well, because when you're taking a look at Matthew Golden, when you're taking a look at Isaiah Bond, the two receivers, even last year when you're talking about some of the prospects like Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. You look at Quinn Ewers' play, and oftentimes I look at throws that, accuracy-wise, are erratic and actually made the job more difficult for his talented receivers. I mean, he was in a tailor-made situation that was perfect for him to excel and just light it up. And it didn't feel like he played consistently at a high enough level to maximize the capabilities of all the talent that's been on the perimeter over the last 2 years. So, I look at the quarterback play. That's why I think that Ewers has fallen down the boards for many draft pundits at the quarterback position, even in a weak draft, because there are some things on tape, and his inconsistencies, in particular with accuracy, are things that really stood out to me.
And Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, which one of those quarterback prospects do you think goes first?
It should be Shedeur, based off of, I think he's probably a little bit more ready-made to enter the NFL as far as being able to trust him to, in the pre-snap and the post-snap process, and his ball placement and accuracy a little bit more consistent. But if you're looking at, an NFL team that wants to emphasize vertically pushing the ball down the field and wants to kind of cultivate a young, dual threat-ish type quarterback, I could see them thinking that Jackson Dart is more in line with a guy that they want to develop if they believe in his ceiling. So I think that the floor is higher for Shedeur. The ceiling is higher for Jackson Dart. They're right around the same range. I'm a little bit higher on Shedeur, but, it definitely it could be Jackson Dart. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jackson Dart hears his name called first tonight.
Derek, what would you like to see your Tampa Bay Buccaneers do tonight with their pick?
I'm trying to really project who's going to be on the board for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? So I want to see us go edge. It's a deep edge class, and Yaya Diaby, who was great and actually entered last year with an injury, only had 4.5 sacks last year. It was Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey that led the team in sacks. They both had 7 each from the defensive tackle position. So we have a great interior pass rush. We need a little bit more juice off the edge. Donovan Ezaraku from Boston College. I really love this kid's game. Yeah, he's not going to be as toolsy as a guy like James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, who is just an athletic freak show. But his craftiness with his hands, his bend, his timing, the ability to counter punch against the offensive lineman, it's really something where I think he's got an NFL-ready skill set to contribute as a pass rusher. So a nice rotation between him, Diaby, and Hassan Reddick is kind of where I hope we go. I don't know if Mike Green's going to be there. Certainly, I'd be very happy with Mike Green from Marshall as well, but edge is where I'd like to see us go unless something crazy happens.
Who is the best fit for Travis Hunter for him to play both ways?
Well, the answer doesn't feel like it's the Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, or New England Patriots. Unfortunately, that's probably where he's going, right? So I would say of those three options, I would like to see him most with the New England Patriots. Drake May, right? Like, I think that the young quarterback and Mike Vrabel, who actually played both sides of the ball in New England.
Yeah.
I think he had like 14 receptions for 14 touchdowns.
Yep. 100%.
During his NFL. So, I mean, I think he, and with what they have on at DB with Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis and some of the other pieces they have in that secondary in New England, I think that you could kind of package him in the secondary, maybe on third downs or something of that nature. Starting out, but have him be a full-time receiver, because we don't know what we're going to get from Stephon Diggs, coming off a torn ACL at 31 years old. So of those three teams, I think the best fit would be New England, but my gut tells me he's going number 2 overall with the Cleveland Browns.
Is Will Howard underrated?
No, I wanted to see more from him consistently. I mean, like, yes, he had his moments, but I wouldn't say that he's underrated. He's not somebody that I'm keeping, that I have high hopes for outside of, kind of a late round flyer. So no, personally, I don't think so.
Do you think it's Jalen Milroe being invited to to attend the draft? Where does Jalen Milroe land? Is he a day one guy? Is he going in the first round, or do you see him slip into the second, third, fourth round?
I think he's a second round pick. I can see why maybe some NFL team would get excited about a quarterback that ran for 20 yards as the starting quarterback of Alabama last year and runs in the 4.3s, and he does have a rifle of an arm, man. I mean, his arm talent, that ball just pops out of his hand different, right? So you talk about, he's the most toolsy prospect in this class by a mile. But his inconsistency with accuracy, I mean, guys, it looks like he's spraying like a shotgun sometimes. I mean, that's how how inconsistent the accuracy is. And it's playing within structure. Sometimes it looked. I actually, at the NFL Combine, there was times where I think he looks a little uncomfortable dropping back under center, which again, that maybe takes a little bit of time to get used to. But yeah, so I think that second round is where I see Jalen Milroe probably being taken early second, maybe to the Giants or the Cleveland Browns if they both do indeed pass on Shedeur Sanders at the top of the first.
So how many quarterbacks do you see going in the first round?
I see three. I see three. And I mean, I don't think three should go. I don't. But that's the NFL nowadays. I'm really interested to see what Pittsburgh does, because technically Mason Rudolph is their starting quarterback right now. I honestly believe that Aaron Rodgers is playing the waiting game till after the NFL draft to make sure he doesn't get Kirk Cousins from last year, where he signs with the team and then that team turns around and spends the first round pick on a quarterback. Basically his immediate replacement and loses, starting job in the middle of the year. So I'm really interested to see if Shedeur doesn't go at number 9 to the New Orleans Saints, and he's there for the Steelers on the clock at 21. I'm very, very, very intrigued to see what that organization decides to do with that pick if that specific player is on the board.
How many minutes do you think it'll take the Tennessee Titans to make their pick? Will it be over or under 5 minutes?
No, under. If I had money to play around with, which I don't, I would be taking the under on that all day.
It's just so wild to me because a lot of the times you feel like these teams know who their first pick is going to be, and then they sit there and they drain, like, I don't know if it's for TV purposes or whatever, but they drain it all the way to the final minute.
The only reason I see them going over a minute is if they're waiting for somebody else to call and say, hey, how about 3 first rounds?
Yeah, there you go. And then last but not least.
What will probably happen is like the New York Giants will call and say, hey, congratulations on your brand new quarterback we wish we had, but we're not giving you 3 first.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
There you go. Maybe try to get them looking like the 2007 Minnesota Vikings and letting the time expire on them. Derek, what is your bold prediction for the evening?
Bold prediction. I think the Browns and the Giants both trade back into the back half of the first round to draft Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart to help get that 5th year option on a rookie deal.
There you go. All right. Well, Derek, as always, man, great to talk with you. Glad that we could get you on, and let's not let it go so far next time, all right?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Enjoy the draft night. And congratulations on Cam Ward, brother, to the Tennessee Titans.
We'll see. The only thing that's working out for me is that someone told me that they're going to take me to Nashville to watch his first home game next year if the Titans do draft him. Otherwise, I wanted to see us trade out.
It doesn't sound too bad to me, man.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, that's Derek Tate, ladies and gentlemen. He's an NFL analyst for Heavy.com. Does such a great job. Just a great human being.
I know.
I'm
so glad I got to talk to him.
Yeah, that's kind of why I set it up for Thursday.
Yeah, you didn't think about that.
I actually did think about that. Yeah, I did think about that. And I was also thinking about the first round of the draft. So it was like a perfect combination. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Any parting words, or are you going to try to stay for a couple of minutes in the next segment?
I know. You guys have a great night and enjoy the draft.
All right. Where are we going to be at?
St. Andy's Sports Pub and Bar.
All right. You're right with the Afternoon Underdogs, listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Final segment of the afternoon coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Expired is up next. Tennessee fans, what is wrong with you? You are wishing this guy well. Oh, he's just a kid. He took you to the altar, got you knocked up, and left you at the freaking altar with twins.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, a variety of slight fog and partly cloudy skies and a low of 68 with wind 2 to 5 miles per hour. A mixture of mostly sunshine and slight fog tomorrow morning, a light breeze and very warm near 79. Mostly sunny and 80 in the afternoon and evening. 81 and slight fog in the morning and then mostly sunshine Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a 5th-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Karen bought 83 liters of Dr. Thunder, a suitcase full of Cheez-Its, and a drum of Crisco. Now she's crying about using the self-check at Walmart.
Maybe we should speak to a manager or something.
Just saying. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. This is Braves Country, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Braves' next game on ESPN is tomorrow night. Coverage starting at 7:25 for an 8:40 first pitch. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. What a show we've had today. Sam Peebles, Alan Watson. We've had Derek Tate on. Obviously, the coach's daughter, Leanne Schwarzentrooper. Coach Georgia, if you're listening, Coach Walker, really do appreciate y'all get me that Greg McMichael signed card. That's really cool stuff. It's right up there with my Jay Chapman signed card, which I got to give a big shout out to James for having some Jay Chapman cards laying around.
Quite welcome.
Or did you get those off of eBay?
I got them off of eBay. Much easier to find them that way than going through my pile of stuff.
Yeah. How wild would have it been had you had that, though?
I could have looked through. I don't have a lot of those years, but I have a couple, so I could have dug through and maybe found something.
And it's minor league, right? When he was with the Montgomery Seabiscuits, I believe.
No, I got you your major league cards. They were Pinnacle, so they didn't have, like Cubs emblem or anything on that because, they didn't have the rights for that.
Oh, okay. But it is. So what is it then?
It's just Pinnacle Major League Baseball.
Oh, it looks like he's in a Montgomery Seabiscuit jersey.
No, it's just straight blue because if you look at it, they just took all the Cubs paraphernalia off of it.
I'm going to have to take a closer look at that. But yeah, that's a really cool card. Really appreciative of that. And again, I mean, just thinking about me means the world to me. You guys can give us a call on the Jed Lawyers phone line at 850-215-6290. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. Y'all go if you want a good job, go to cbcconstruction.com. Fill you out an application over that way. All right, James, we got a few NHL games going on tonight, but what about the Capitals and the Canadiens last night? Canadiens fall 0-2 in that series, or fall down 2 games. What do you think about the Capitals' chances here of a sweep, or are you liking a gentleman's sweep? The games have been highly contested. I mean, the 3-1 was... That ended up being the third goal was an empty netter, right?
Was an empty netter.
Yeah, so
they're in there. Montreal's not a bad team. I mean, no NHL team is bad except, the last 3 or 4 teams this year, which the Reds were, of course, a part of. Yay, guys, way to go. But the Montreal Canadiens fought in there, and they're going to stay in there. I did pick this as a sweep series.
Yeah.
So I was expecting the sweep to happen. Going to overtime in the first game was all right. They're hanging with it. Montreal, I just don't think has the back end. They don't have the defensive depth right now. Montembeault has been carrying them.
Yeah.
And I just
Second career playoff game.
I just don't know if he's the kind of guy that can just carry you through the entire playoffs. It's an unknown. Maybe he can. He played well in the regular season, but he is not stealing you games.
And that was... it's such a fun game to watch last night, too, because both of those goalies in the second and really in the third period were throughout the whole game, were standing on their head, making incredible saves.
Looked great. As a goaltender, it was a fun game to watch for that.
And then the Stars and the Avalanche, 2-1. Stars get the win in overtime. Were you a little surprised to see Stars take Game 1 in Colorado? It's not Game 1, it's Game 3, but the first game in Colorado?
Yeah, it's a little shocking to Colorado to, lose that game, especially in overtime, first 3 minutes of overtime. But if you look at a lot of overtime games in the playoffs, it's either going to be a goal in the first 5 minutes or sit down and relax, everybody, because we are going to have a ride. Now, I was really thinking Colorado, especially with Landeskog coming back, getting the announcement, I thought they were going to be pumped up enough to just have the emotion carry them through. It did not happen. Colorado came out, got the first goal of the game, kept the lead for a good little while. They even had a time period in the second, I want to say, for about 12 minutes where they didn't allow Dallas to get a shot on goal. And it just looked like it was going to just be a 1-0 game that when you look at it on paper, 1-0, that was a close game.
Right.
But not as much. But then in that third period, Dallas just poured it on. I don't know if Colorado just kind of ran out of gas for the game or what happened there. But Colorado's got to step up. They've got to get McCarr scoring. They have got to, I don't know if move Landeskog off of the third line all the way to the fourth line and get him down to like 5 or 7 minutes a game instead of 10, if that'll help. Because he's in there and he's playing emotional, but you can look and see that he is that half step to almost a full step behind everybody else because he hasn't been out there playing for the past 3 seasons, and he only had one kind of warm-up game in the AHL for Colorado with the Eagles up in Colorado Springs.
And the Oilers fall to the Kings 6-2, which now the Kings lead that series 2-0. We'll see if the Oilers can battle back when they get back to home ice.
Too top-heavy. Oilers are too top-heavy. They're paying too much for those top sixes. The back end of the defense is absolutely non-existent. Stuart Skinner is going to be the scapegoat for this, and I feel absolutely horrible for Stuart Skinner standing there in the net, you know, playing in front of the Swiss cheese defense that's in front of him, although he's starting to look like Swiss cheese right now. And it's not, like I said, it's not his fault. They've got to produce something in front of him. If the top 6 guys aren't scoring for the Oil, then the Oilers are going to do absolutely nothing but have a nice trip home. I had this going to a 7-game series, but right now it looks like it's just going to be 4. I mean, they have given the Oilers 12 goals given up in 2 games in the playoffs. Not good. Not good.
Yeah, and the Panthers right now on top of the Lightning 1-0. Hopefully the Lightning can bounce back. You've got the Maple Leafs and the Senators coming up at 6. Golden Knights and the Wild. That series tied at 1. Toronto leads the previous series 2-0 there in Ottawa tonight. Golden Knights and the Wild start off in Minnesota tonight at 8. And then the Jets and the Blues, final game of the night tonight in St. Louis. Do you think the Blues bounce back?
I thought they were going to play better than this because they came into the playoffs on an 8-game winning streak. Now, I didn't think the Blues were going to be better than Winnipeg. Winnipeg came in with the President's Trophy, but we also know that the President's Trophy can also be your albatross that sinks you.
Yeah.
But right now, they are looking strong. The Blues, I don't know what it is. They were playing aggressive and they were playing smart to end out on the season, and now they're playing aggressive, but they're not playing smart with it. And they got to get out of their own heads, get out of their own ways with the penalty boxes and taking dumb penalties if they want to even have a chance to make this more than 4 games.
And then the Celtics and the Magic, no Jason Tatum last night. Paolo Banchero did Paolo Banchero type stuff. So did Jaylen Brown, 36 and 10 for him. Paolo, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. But the Celtics were kind of in control for a majority of that game. And fourth quarter was the only quarter that the Magic outscored the Celtics. They take a 2-0 series lead, and they'll be heading to Orlando, I believe, Friday evening for the third game of that series. The Cavaliers kept on pouring it on. Ohio Brad, as a Cavaliers fan, was not very happy that they were playing on NBA TV. But
yeah, number 1 team, and you're getting the alternate channel, basically. I'd feel slighted, too.
I get that, but also it won't be like that as you move on into the
well, no, because you'll get less games, so you can put them on, the bigger channels, and it's
less games in a better matchup, though. Yeah. I think that's where the issue is for me, is when you hear Celtics Magic and you hear Rockets Warriors, Cavaliers Heat. The Cavaliers Heat, to me, seems like the less intriguing, the least intriguing of the 3 games.
Well, it's a number 1 playing a number 8, and it's a number 1 team that's in a small market. So you're not going to get a whole lot of eyeballs to it.
Cavaliers won 121 to 112. That series also 2-0. Then the Rockets and the Warriors, which the Warriors several times they're in I believe it was either late in the second, early in the third, Steph just started shooting from everywhere, and a few of them he was making. He ended up with just 20 points and 9 assists. Jalen Green last night ended up having a great night, 38 points. And the Rockets tie that series up 109 to 94. Jimmy Butler did get leave with a pelvic contusion and wasn't able to come back, and that also helped the Rockets out-physical the Golden State Warriors. So that series now more intriguing than what I thought it was going to be. I felt like as a 7 seed, the Warriors, yes, it would be an upset, but I felt like they were the better team, and the Rockets kind of showed last night that they are not going to be going quietly by any stretch of the imagination. Game 3 between the Knicks and the Pistons is tonight. That series is tied up at 1. The Knicks are a 1.5 point favorite. They're on the road as well. So we'll see if Detroit can get another playoff win, because it had been a long time since they had one prior to their win the other night. Then the Thunder and the Grizzlies, they're back in Memphis. OKC has been obliterating the Memphis Grizzlies. They lead that series 2-0. And then another game that's going to be intriguing is the Nuggets and the Clippers. That one doesn't start tonight until 9 o'clock. But that series tied at 1. And Nikola Jokic and the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. It'll be interesting to see how Game 3 goes tonight from the Intuit Dome there for the LA Clippers. What game out of all of them are you looking forward to the most tonight, or are you looking forward to the NFL draft more than anything?
I am looking forward to the first pick of the NFL draft. After that, I go to the NFL draft after it's done every day, just to see who is drafted, because I pick horribly when it comes to March Madness. I pick even worse when it comes to the NFL draft on where guys are going to go. I'm always interested to see where the guys end up, because that's the future of every single team. But in terms of like being a guy that's like, yeah, I'm going to watch and see how many I get right, I don't even try to guess. I will try to maybe guess who the Titans get, and that'll be about it. But the game of the night is the game for me is the one that's on right now with the Florida Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. 1-0, 12 minutes left in the first.
Well, last night, the Titans picked up Tyler Lockett on just a one-year deal. Not a lot of money going into that. He's 33 years old, speedster, did some great things over there with the Seattle Seahawks. But I guess I'm excited about this because it adds a little bit of speed. We still need a dominating physical receiver, and I think that would help out Calvin Ridley so much if Cam Ward ends up being worth his salt. But what do you feel of this? My feeling on it is he'll be with the Titans this year, and then he's going to head to we might trade him to the Chiefs halfway through the season, and then he'll end up with the Baltimore Ravens. It just seems like when we get these older wide receivers, they find a way to the Ravens.
I mean, it's a Titan tradition.
Yeah.
You go out, you find the old man receiver, you give him money, he catches 2 yards for you during the entire season, you trade him away for some pennies, and then they go out and make catches and money. It's just infuriating to be a Titans fan, because if anybody remembers, Randy Moss was one time a Titan.
Yeah.
All 1-2 catches for the 10 games that he played there. It was he was more of like a distraction piece, I think, on the field than anything.
Andre Johnson, when we picked him up, we've picked up a lot of players throughout the years, and you thought, oh man, this is going to be so awesome, and all it was an awesome storyline that just turned out to be a disaster. The NFL draft is live from Lambeau in about an hour. If y'all are looking for a place to come party, well, not necessarily party, but a draft party, we're going to be at St. Andy's in St. Andrews. Just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I. For James Fife, I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and we'll see you here live and local tomorrow at 4.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because